Blessings and welcome to the path to freedom, this beautiful space, this beautiful path that we get to walk, where we continuously get to set ourselves free, where we continuously get to release and let go that which no longer serves, the small, the limited judgments, opinions, thought patterns, point of views, where we get to continuously. Hi, Joanna. And Marsha's here, and Ben is here. It is good to see you too, Ben. It is good to see all of you as we are coming together across multiple platforms on this beautiful day. This is what these Tuesday, for most of us, it's Tuesday morning, but for some of us, it's Tuesday afternoon and even Tuesday night. But these Tuesday gatherings, they are multi-platform gatherings. So we're coming together from all over the planet, all over the globe, from different time zones, but all with one conscious or not so conscious intention to wake up to set ourselves free, to be in ever expanding love and joy and peace and harmony, to set ourselves free to be to be free, to be the shining and glowing examples, the shining and glowing expressions of the divine, whatever we choose to call that divine. We get to set ourselves free to shine and to soar and to glow, regardless of conditions, regardless of circumstances. That's kind of the thing about this, that we are not doing this. Our freedom is not dependent upon something happening or something not happening outside of us. It is not dependent on things going our way, conditions and circumstances being what we want them to be, but we're actually doing the inner work of setting ourselves free to be in joy, even when things are not necessarily the way we would prefer them to be. So I'm very happy that we are all here. I'm very happy that we are connecting, that we are coming together like this. Feel free to put in the chat where you are from, regardless of what platform you are on. And also, I invite us to put in the chat the quality that we wish to embody, the quality that we wish to experience as we're moving through this space. What is it that we wish to experience more of? It can be love, it can be joy, it can be peace, it can be harmony, it can be abundance. And so Jessica is here, and Devin is here, and Matt is here, and I'm here. I don't think I've said it. And John is here. Hi, John. Good to see you. And Cindy is here. Isabel is here from Scotland. And my name is Daniel Roquéo. I don't think I've said that. I'm Daniel Roquéo, and I love being in this space. I love hanging out in this high-minded fellowship that this is, where we get to cultivate a way of life that allows us to move increasingly untouched and unmoved in the world. So Apollonia is here from Croatia. Wonderful. And Apollonia wants to experience more contentness. And Jenny is here from Greece. And Matt is saying calm and acceptance. Giovanna from Phoenix, Arizona. Looking for more tolerance and acceptance. Beautiful. And Ben is calling forth patience with people I wouldn't typically choose to be around. That is a very that is profound. to have unconditional love and compassion for individuals that we may not have all that much in common with. And as Ben is saying, with individuals that we may not necessarily choose or have, that we wouldn't have chosen to be around. So beautiful. For me, for my For me, I'm looking to call forth more peace as I'm moving through an ever expanding space of profound transformation. The mind is somewhat restless and somewhat agitated about not seeing the particular outcomes, not seeing really how it's gonna turn out, and things didn't go exactly as I planned. Like today, I had planned for something and it didn't turn out that way. And the mind is, the ego is having thoughts about that. So, so I'm calling forth peace around just allowing, embracing, allowing whatever is to be as it is. You know, coming into a deep and profound sense of trusting and surrendering that even in the midst of this, even here, even now, all is well. It may not be what I want it to be, but still, I'm trusting that this benevolent, loving presence that is all there is, that that it knows what needs to happen and how it needs to happen and when it needs to happen for me and for all of us to allow for the next version of who we are to emerge. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful that we are here. Let us, as always, begin with moving into a space of stillness, a space of silence, space of stillness, where we get to turn our attention away from the external conditions and circumstances, where we get to allow for that inherent peace, that boundless peace to well up from within us. And so in this now moment, we're all invited to make ourselves comfortable, whatever that means, whatever that looks like. We're invited to close our eyes, our outer eyes, that is. We're invited to keep our spiritual eye open. And we're invited to put a smile on our face. Even if we perhaps are facing conditions and circumstances that are not to our liking, even if we're moving through challenges, we still want to move through life to the best of our ability with a smile on our face, celebrating that which is, celebrating every opportunity that we have to grow, to expand, every challenge that in truth is a gift and a blessing of transformation. Because what happens when we smile is that the body takes that smile as a sign of all being well. And so the body begins to relax. It begins to release tension. It begins to produce and distribute these beautiful tonic healing chemicals that strengthen the immune system, that slow down the aging process, facilitates all manner of healing and wellness and well-being. And as the body doesn't know the difference between a real smile and a fake smile, even if we don't feel like smiling, we're wise to smile anyway. And as we're smiling, let us now, in this now moment, turn our attention away from external conditions and circumstances. Whatever may be going on in our lives, in the world around us, let us for a moment pause that and turn our attention toward the breath. Witnessing and observing as each breath has 4 stages to it. Witnessing and observing the in-breath, the space between in and out breath, the out breath, and the space between out and in breath. And as we, in a moment, move into the meditation, we want to be particularly aware and mindful of that last stage, the stage between out and in breath. Because oftentimes it is in that space, in that stage, that our attention drifts away from the breath. But being mindful of that stage, being mindful of that space, with the intention to sustain our attention on the breath, even through that stage, allows us to be with the breath for longer and longer periods, and with ever increasing ease and grace. And we also want to be aware that the body, with its divine intelligence, it knows when to breathe. So as we're witnessing and observing the breath, the air flowing in and out, and the chest rising and falling, and maybe the nostrils flaring a little bit, flapping a little bit, let us be aware that we do not need to make the breathing happen. We don't even need to participate in the breathing. But we can simply just be, witness, observe it, be present with the breath as it happens. Let us now take on the feeling tone, or go even deeper into the feeling tone that all is well. Let us give the peace that follows permission to move us even deeper into the numbness of this moment, into the stillness, into the silence that is eternally here. For a moment of being still and of being silent. Let us come back to the breath. If our attention has drifted, let us come back and begin again. Let us come back and begin again. Let's come back to the breath and begin again. Come back to the breath and begin again. Let's come back to the breath. Begin again. As we move into the opening evocation, we're all invited to remain with our eyes closed, our hearts open, our minds open, with that smile on our face. So to allow for these words to raise our vibration even more and expand our consciousness even further. And as we always want to begin and end even with gratitude, let's be grateful for this breath. Let's be grateful for the abundance of air that is everywhere. Let's be grateful for these magical, magnificent, absolutely beautiful and powerful companions that we have in our physical bodies. For all the things that they are doing, all the actions and all the functions that they are performing in every single moment without us being aware of it. Let us be grateful for the beauty that is fully present right where we are now. For the peace that is right here, right now. We may not feel it, we may not see it, but it is still here. Let's be grateful for the unconditional love, boundless love that is everywhere. And I'm so grateful that I get to walk this beautiful path where I get to open my eyes, where I get to wake up, where I get to clean the filters off of my eyes so that I more and more and more may see clearly the beauty, the peace, the harmony, the divine perfection that is everywhere. So that I more and more and more may live in the knowing and feeling, not only knowing and feeling, the absolute knowing and feeling that all is well. In the absolute knowing and feeling that something wonderful is always happening. In the absolute knowing and feeling that everything is working for not only my highest good, but for the highest good. Let's be grateful that we get to move through life ever more untouched and unmoved by conditions and circumstances and other individuals, what they are doing, what they're not doing, what we think they should have done or shouldn't have done. There's so much to be grateful for in every single moment. If only we look for it, if only we choose it. And so I want to thank all of us. I'm so grateful for all of us who are tuning into this space from all over the world. We're tuning in, we're participating, we're contributing, we are, that was a word I was looking for, but it doesn't matter. We're contributing to making this space what it is. And this is such a loving and healing and beautiful space. And so I'm grateful for our willingness. I'm grateful for us choosing to tune into this space. Whether we're participating live or watching or listening to the recordings, I'm so grateful for every single one of us. I make up this high-minded fellowship. Recognizing that there is only one here. There is only one presence here. There is only one mind here. There is only one intelligence here. There's only one power here. There's only one life here, expressing itself in us and through all of us being emanations of the one, expressions of the one, revelations of the one. This one, we can call it God, and we can call it spirit, and we can call it the universe, we can call it life, we can call it love, we can call it energy, we can call it whatever we want to call it. But this, the one, it is benevolent, it is always for itself, eternally making sure that everything needed is provided, eternally guiding and leading and moving itself into expansion, into progression, into getting to know more of itself in us and through all of creation. And let us recognize not only its allness, not only its benevolence, but also its perfection. That it is expressing itself perfectly, always and forever. Which means that there are no mistakes, there are no random acts, there's no serendipity, no chance, no luck. Only divine and perfect order happening, divine and perfect perfection happening always, divine and perfect timing, divine and perfect activity and action happening always. And from this space of recognition of the one, let us now move deep into the feeling tone that we are one with the one. That we have never been, that we never will be, we never could be separated from the one. But that we are always one with it. We are it expressing itself. We are it living itself, revealing itself in us and through our lives. In fact, in truth, we don't even have a life of our own. But our life is the life of this benevolent, loving presence. And as we are one with it, as we are a unique, perfect, whole, complete expression of this loving presence, it means that we are lacking nothing. We're missing nothing. Everything that we need to allow for the peace, allow for the tolerance, allow for the acceptance, allow for the joy, for the wholeness, the abundance that is inherently within us, that is the truth and the essence of who we are. Everything is here. It is now. It is within us. We are the answer to whatever good we may be seeking to call forth. We are the answer. There's nothing preventing us from moving into vibrational alignment with whatever good it is that we wish to experience. There's nothing preventing us, keeping us, obstructing us from choosing peace, from choosing love, from choosing harmony, from choosing wholeness, from choosing beauty. Nothing. But everything is needed, everything that is needed is provided. So everything that we need to keep moving forward, to keep shining, glowing, soaring, expanding, unfolding, it is here, it is now, it is within. And so I know that all is well. I know that something wonderful is happening. I know that everything is working for our highest good. I'm not denying that we have experiences. I'm not denying that there are lots and lots of people on this planet that are suffering, that are having terrible and horrible and horrendous experiences. I'm not denying that. But underneath it all, there is this one loving presence that is eternally expanding, progressing, moving forward, revealing more of itself, expressing more of itself. If only we let it. So we can be conscious participants and we can be unconscious participants. We can take the scenic route, which sometimes is a route of suffering, or we can take the shorter route, which is where we become conscious participants, where we do the inner work of releasing and letting go of our judgments, our opinions, our point of views, our perceptions. And all of this is happening now, and this is what we've gathered here to raise ourselves up from the lower vibrations, to lift ourselves up into joy, into harmony, into wholeness, into peace, into love. And all of it is happening now. And for this I give thanks. It is happening, and it is happening with ease and grace. For this I give thanks. Let's just let that which already is be. Let's surrender to that which is. Realize the doneness of it. Allowing this doneness to demonstrate, to manifest itself, to express itself, reveal itself in us and through us. So let us bow our heads, let us get out of the way. Let us say, thy will be done, and let God have its way. So it is, so be it, so shall it be, so we are. So this benevolent, loving presence is all there is, as we are it. Amen, Ami, Ashe, Aho, Hotep, Shalom, Salam, and Hallelujah. Beautiful. Hi, Pandora. Good to see you, as always. So, in this now moment, what is present? What is present here and now? And whatever is present, this is our starting point for how to move forward. And Dolores is here. Hello, Dolores. So what are we to talk about today? What will be our topic for today? Faith. Realize the love of spirit. Beautiful. All right, so what is faith? Obviously, we can describe it in many, many terms, many words, but it can be called, or it can be defined as the ability to see that which cannot be seen with our eyes, to trust the unknown, to trust the unseen, to trust that which our physical senses cannot pick up. That is the substance of faith. That is the byproduct of faith. It's a manifest belief in something bigger than ourselves. So let's talk about God. What is God? What is spirit? What is the universe? Well, there are three things that we can absolutely not necessarily know. And this is not, moving deep into trusting, getting to know spirit is not for the intellect. We absolutely need to do our part in treating our minds, in treating our minds to release and let go of our previous perceptions of this benevolent, loving presence as a being, perhaps a bearded man in the sky that is judgmental, that has favorites, that is um, punishing people, that are demanding things of us. That may be one perception of spirit, but it's a very limited perception of spirit, because God is not ever out there. God is all there is, fully present everywhere. It is in every cell. It is in every muscle, every tissue, every atom. It is in the seen. It is in the unseen. Not only is in, it is the seen and the unseen. It is the unheard. It is that which we can hear. It is fully and evenly present everywhere. It is infinite love, infinite peace, infinite joy, infinite harmony, infinite abundance, infinite wholeness. It is infinite, eternal, boundless, limitless. It has no beginning. It has no end. It is all there is. So all of us, I love the expression, we're not just a drop in the water or the ocean, but we are the entire ocean in a drop, meaning that we are all that spirit is, coalesced into this not coalesced, but expressed as this unique, perfect emanation that we are. Just as any wave on the ocean carries all of the qualities of the ocean, any sunbeam carries all of the qualities of the sun. There's no distinction between the sun and the sunbeam. There's no distinction between the wave and the ocean. It's all one. So what do we know about the one? Well, the way I have caught it is that there are three pillars of trust, or three principles of trust. First of all, that God is all there is. That's the one pillar of trust. God is all there is. Fully present, even in the midst. I was once asked, not once, I get asked all of the time, is God more present or less present in like a murderer or someone who sexually abuses someone else? Are these individuals less unique, perfect, whole, complete expressions of God? And the simple answer is no, they're not. God cannot ever divide itself. Spirit cannot ever compromise itself, contradict itself. It is no more over here than over there. So every single one of us is unique, perfect expression, whole, complete emanation of this benevolent, loving presence. Being on this planet, and this sort of circles back to what someone was saying, Ben, I believe, about tolerate and accept individuals that we may not resonate with, that we may not vibe with. But even those we're not vibing with, they, just as much as we are unique, perfect, whole, complete expression of this benevolent, loving presence. So we know that God is all there is, fully present everywhere. The second pillar of trust is that this benevolent, loving presence is always for itself. And this is difficult for us to see sometimes. And this is difficult for us to realize sometimes when we perhaps are watching the news and we're being bombarded with news and information about how people are being molested and abused and killed and maimed and treated inhumanly. And how can this be when there's one benevolent, loving presence? How can it tolerate us? Once again, there's a sense of separation built into the vocabulary here, but there is no separation in God. But if God is good, if God is benevolent, how can it tolerate that we treat each other the way we treat each other? And here enters the sole purpose of all of life, which is for God to know more of itself, to reveal more of itself, to express more of itself. And to that end, in us humans has been installed the free will, our reflective consciousness, our ability to make conscious, free conscious choices. Conscious sometimes, very unconscious a lot of times. So God does not sit up there telling us to do. We're not puppets on the strings of spirit. But we have been given the free will so that we may express ourselves in the way that we want to express ourselves. And through us expressing ourselves, sometimes in very hurtful and uh, ways that bring forth and that bring suffering to others, in that, in the contrast of what it is that we wish to experience and what it is that we don't wish to experience, in the contrast of what it is that we, as we are becoming aware of what it is that we don't wish to experience, we get to become more and more clear on what it is that we wish to experience. And most of us, maybe not all, and maybe all of us, wish to experience peace and love and joy and harmony. But in the contrast of experiencing something opposite of that, we get to begin to make conscious choices as to what it is that we that are in alignment with what we don't wish to experience. So even in the midst of the calamity, even in the midst of suffering, even in the midst of turmoil, there is a gift and a blessing of transformation. There is spirit inviting us, calling us. We are being called to begin to wake up, to begin to make choices that are in alignment with what it is that we wish to experience, be it peace and joy and harmony. So we always have that ability to choose what it is that we wish to experience. We always have that ability. And Trish is saying, I understand free will, but it is hard to reconcile expression of God for those who disregard others' free will, safety, or even life. So as we become aware, as we come into this sphere, into the field of those that are abuseful, that are hurtful, that seem to thrive on putting others down and even hurting other individuals. That allows for us, that invites us to take a big stand for what it is that we wish to experience. And now we're moving into the idea of forgiveness, which is that we absolutely, we are entitled and we are it is valid for us to have opinions and judgments of others and the choices that they are making and how they are showing up in the world. But this negativity that we are holding on to, the anger, the resentment, the even sometimes hatred, that's, once again, it's an invitation for us to do the inner work of releasing that, holding fast to what we prefer, holding fast to what it is that we wish to experience, but releasing our emotional, our mental reactions, these stories as to what should and should not be, the beliefs, the judgments, the opinions, the perceptions that we are holding. When we're saying this individual is perhaps lesser than we are, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't show up this way, I wouldn't treat others this way. So there's a judgment built into the negativity that we are holding on to. When we are putting ourselves on high horses, saying that I am more evolved than this individual, I've come farther than they have, because I wouldn't treat others this way. So absolutely, there is a challenge of reconciling how some individuals are moving through life with this benevolent, loving presence. But once again, not once again, because we haven't talked about it today, we've talked about it before, we never know why some things happen. We never know the full story. We never know the full reasons as to why things happen and why certain individuals are showing up the way they are showing up. What we can trust is that in any given moment, Every single one of us is doing the very best we know how to do. From our level of awareness, from where we are in consciousness, we're making the highest choice we can make. We are doing, we are choosing the way we can only choose from where we are in consciousness. We can only choose from where we are in awareness, right? And as we are choosing from that awareness, every choice is every choice has a consequence. Every choice brings a result. And as we are experiencing and as we are witnessing, hi Yvonne, good to see you, Yvonne from Zimbabwe, Africa. As we become aware of what it is that we don't wish to experience, our work, and especially when other individuals are concerned, our work is to begin to release and let go of our judgments about them, to raise our vibrations so that we may stand in peace, so that we may stand in love, in joy, regardless of what they are doing or not doing. Forgiveness doesn't mean that we condone, it doesn't mean that we accept the behaviors of anyone else. It doesn't mean that we perhaps will never be friends again, or that we will ever choose to hang out with this individual. But for us to be the shining, glowing examples the of spirit, we need to choose peace even in the midst of calamity. We need to choose unconditional love even in the midst of calamity. I'm not saying that this is easy. I'm saying that it is doable. I'm saying that it is necessary. That we hold the high watch, as it is called. That we hold a space of unconditional love for the victims as well as the perpetrator. That we make no distinction between who is choosing who is choosing what, who is doing what, who is able to make any choice. We want to stand for love. We want to stand for peace. We want to stand for harmony unconditionally. And it is only when we can stand, when enough of us are standing in the high vibration of love, unconditional love, when enough of us are standing in the high vibration of peace, boundless peace, when enough of us are standing in compassion and wholeness, it is only then that boundless peace may begin to emerge, may become the activity, not only in the individual consciousness, but also in the collective consciousness. So yes, it is difficult. I'm not saying anything else. I'm not claiming anything else. But we still need to do it to the best of our ability. We need to choose peace. We need to choose harmony. We need to choose wholeness. We need to choose abundance. Right? Is this making sense? And Samantha is saying, what I don't understand is those around me who go to church regularly and are so judgmental about those of us who don't. Well, most churches, are they so, and I'm not putting churches down, but I am absolutely want to bring our awareness to some religions that are not necessarily practicing and teaching oneness. They're not necessarily practicing and teaching unconditional love. But I know a lot of people that go to churches, that they go to church, where they are being taught that in order to gain the salvation, or to reach salvation, to gain the love of God, they need to be in a certain way. That they are chosen people, that God doesn't love everyone equally, that God doesn't favor everyone equally, but that God has favorites. And unless we go to church, unless we pray in this way or that way, unless we read the Bible, we will be condemned to hell. We will not be allowed to enter the gates of kingdom of heaven. And if If the church preaches judgments, how can those following those teachings be anything else but judgmental? It is all based on fear. If the teachings that we adhere to does not teach oneness, does not teach us that we are enough, not because of what we do and don't do. If the teaching we lean into does not teach that there is only one God, and this God is unconditionally loving, just as the Son is unconditionally loving. The Son has no favorites. The Son doesn't care what church we go to or don't go to. The Son doesn't care whether or not we go to church at all. But the sun shines on the just and the unjust alike. The sun shines on those killing others just as much as it shines on those praying for others, assisting others. This is what God is. The rain rains on everyone alike. A rose doesn't discern between someone adhering to one religion or someone following no religion. A rose shares of its fragrance and its beauty alike. This is unconditional love. And unless we practice this and unless we study this, how will we ever move through life being expressions of unconditional love? So let me just. So Marsha is saying, yes, it makes sense. Unfortunately, some people use free will with blinders. And if we are walking around unaware or unconscious with blinders, maybe we're not all that able to exercise our free will. But maybe we're more like, as a term that has come to me, like we're moving through life as numbless reactionary drones. Not really. Many of us believe that we are exercising our free will. But if we are allowing the world to dictate, if we are allowing someone else to dictate where we are to turn our attention, what we are to like, what we are to dislike, who is okay, who is not okay, then we're not necessarily exercising our free will. Exercising our free will is consciously choosing what we want to think, where we want to turn our attention. That is exercising our free will. If we listen to the news and get hijacked by fear and worry and doubt, if we go to a teacher or if we tune into a teacher that informs us that we need to be wary or that we need to protect ourselves, that the world is a dangerous place and that humanity is evil or people are evil or those belonging to a certain religion or those living in certain areas, that they are bad, they are horrible people, then we're not exercising our free will. But exercising our free will, truly exercising our free will, is making conscious choices, asking on a regular basis, this what I'm buying into right now, this story, this belief that I'm holding on to, that I'm leaning into, is this serving me? Is this in alignment with peace? Is this in alignment with unconditional love? Is this in alignment with me being a shining exemplar of the divine mind? If it's not, then we get to make another choice. But it is only when we are making conscious choices that we really truly can be said to exercise free will. If we're not making conscious choices, we are not exercising our free will. We still have the ability, but we're not exercising it. It's been said that choice is a function of awareness. So we need to be aware of having a choice if we can truly be said to be exercising that choice. So Dolores is saying, yes, this resonates with me, and I have just tried to be on a higher vibration when I feel uncertainty. So we always, to the best of our ability, need to come back to the nowness of this moment, as we did in the, which actually reminds me that we're going to do this in a moment. But because it is when we are anchored, centered, and grounded in the nowness of this moment, that is when we get to, that is when we have the ability to choose. When we are hijacked by our minds, we don't have the ability to choose. We're not exercising our free will. When we are hijacked by fear and worry and doubt, by a sense of separation, by a sense of lack and scarcity, when we attach ourselves to these thought forms, to these stories and beliefs, we're not walking around as free beings, but we're hijacked. And when we're hijacked, when we're held hostage, we're not free, right? So we need to, on a regular basis, come back to the nowness of this moment. And the way to do it is like this. This is one way to do it. It's not the only way to do it, obviously. This is one way to do it. So I invite us all in this now moment to take a couple of deep conscious breaths, breathing in deeply. And then releasing. Another deep breath in. And releasing. So what has happened? What happens when we take these couple of deep conscious breaths is that we release ourselves from being attached. We release ourselves from being hijacked. We release ourselves from being held hostage by the ego, by the mind, by a sense of separation, by a sense of not being enough, by lack, scarcity. And from this space of being fully present here and now we get to choose. Now we get to choose. Now we get to exercise that free will. Now we get to be aware. Now we get to make conscious choices, right? So Cherish is saying, oh, Samantha is saying, the letters I got were cruel, and yet supposedly by people who have faith. And it all comes down to, what is it that we're trusting? Are we trusting a judgmental God, a God that punishes, a God that requires us to be? I mean, I have clients that are having such a struggle with their sexual identity. And especially those individuals that may have sexual identities that were not, according to the Bible, that were not condoned by God, that were not, that they were taught as very, and from a very young age, that it is not in alignment with God. It is not, God does not, it's an abomination to have certain sexual orientations. It's an abomination. And they are still many years later having to do deep inner work to come to terms with who they are, to come to terms with being all right as they are. And we all have these beliefs as to who we should be, what is all right, what is not all right, that we need to do work around. And if we are hanging out with judgmental people, where there is judgment, unconditional love cannot be. Where there's unconditional love, judgment cannot be. These two are, I mean, unconditional love is everywhere, but where judgment exists, where judgment is, that unconditional love has been covered up. It is not missing. It is not lacking. It's just been covered up by the filters. Someone was talking about filters before. When we're having filters over our eyes that that keep us from being not emanations from seeing the world the way God sees it. When we're having filters of judgments, when we're having filters of fear, when we're having filters of worry and doubt and a sense of separation, we do not see the world as God sees it. God sees the world only as love. God sees the world because God is love. God doesn't see anything but itself. So the sun doesn't see judgments. The sun doesn't see, it doesn't discern. It doesn't favor one religious affiliation over any other religious affiliation. And I'm moving my hands because I'm accompanied by a small fly or a bug or something that is joining, that is tuning into this conversation. And it knows that it is all right. It knows that it is enough. This fly, it doesn't try to be something that is not. It doesn't try to it seems to be sort of grayish, this little fellow. This fly doesn't try to change its color, believing that it has to look in a certain way. It doesn't try to make its wings bigger, believing that its wings are not big enough. It doesn't say things or move through life trying to be someone that it is not. But it absolutely knows that this benevolent, loving presence that is all there is, it accepts, it loves, it knows. I don't know if it was Jesus who said it or if it was said to Jesus, but it knows that it is God's beloved in whom God is well pleased, right? Regardless of its color, regardless of its size, regardless of what it knows or doesn't know, it knows that it is God's beloved in whom God is well pleased. Always. Independent, completely regardless of all physical attributes. So Cherish is saying, exercising our free will, consciously choosing what we want and putting our focus on only that. Ask ourselves, is this in alignment with peace, unconditional love, harmony? Yes, beautiful. And if not, we get to make another choice. That is exercising our free will. When we are moving through life as robots, as mindless drones, we're not exercising our free will. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Cherish. And Cherish is also saying, when hijacked by the mind, we're not free. In those moments, we need to come back to this now moment by taking a few. It's like I was talking. I love that. Beautiful. And Samantha is saying, we are who we are. It's such a shame. It's such a shame that there is so much judgment. But we get to stand as the unjudgmental people. We get to show the way. Only when enough of us practice, move through life as beautiful examples, as beautiful emanations of unconditional love, then and only then will unconditional love begin to make its scene onto this planet. So we are here to lead. We are here to be the forerunners of unconditional love. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It doesn't matter what they're not doing. The only thing that matters is, how are we showing up in the world? What are we choosing? Are we choosing unconditional love? Are we choosing boundless peace? That's the only, such a profound question to ask is, what is mine to do? What is mine to do in this moment? Yes, we may find ourselves in the company of all these individuals that are not necessarily at the level of awareness that we are. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter what they are doing. What matters is, what are we doing? How are we showing up? What is mine to do? And oftentimes when I ask that question, what is mine to do, is to come back to this now moment, releasing whatever thoughts I have, whatever perceptions I have, whatever judgment I have, just being here, allowing for love to flow through me. I don't need to say anything. It's not about saying anything. It is about being the love. It is about being the peace. It is about being the harmony, allowing it to infuse whatever space I'm in, whatever space we are in, allowing it to emerge well up from within us. So Trish is saying, no, Giovanna is saying, I choose to believe not only that God, higher power exists, but also, and even more importantly, that it is here to help and support and protect me. Just like I was okay in the past, I believe that dots will connect. I believe that the dots will connect as they should in the future as well. So that is this beautiful. I love that, Giovanna. So um, this is such a beautiful expression of these three pillars of trust: the allness of God, the benevolence of God, and you're also speaking to the third pillar of trust. That spirit is always expressing itself perfectly, always expressing itself perfectly. All perfect preparation and unfolding is always happening. Everything that we need to begin, everything that we need in terms of abilities and capabilities, and also in terms of the conditions and circumstances needed for us to step up our game, needed for us to begin to become more conscious, choosing more consciously, is always happening in such a perfect, according to such a perfect pattern. Perfect design is always happening. Perfect um, orchestration is always happening. Yes, we may have preferences as to what should and should not be, but spirit and spirit alone, being omniscient, being the one and only mind, it knows what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and how it needs to happen. So, whatever conditions and circumstances we find ourselves in, we get to always trust that this is just perfect for us. It is just perfect for me. Not it used to be perfect, not it will be perfect in some future moment, but it is perfect now. I love how you put that, Giovanna. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. And Chanel is saying, um, as I was coming out of a religious organization because of the belief in that we are right and they are wrong, I had to check that I wasn't reverse judging. I'm always checking myself on that. We beautiful. So this is how we need to and want to move through life, always mindful of what is going on in our own minds. Kind of like what we did in the meditation in the beginning, coming back over and over and over again, coming back to the nowness in this moment, coming back to the breath, taking these couple of conscious breaths, witnessing and observing, where am I now? What is going on in my mind? Where am I turning my attention? Am I more leaning into judgments, opinions, perceptions, than just embracing and allowing that which is to be what it is? Am I more leaning into, hey, I'm so much better than you are. I'm so much farther along than they are. Look at me. I'm this beautiful. I mean, look at me. I've come so far. I've been on this spiritual path for so long, and I've come so far. Checking in on a regular basis. Where am I? Where are we? So that we more and more and more get to become and be conscious participants in the unfolding of who and what we are. Cool. And Marsha is saying, using mind over matter allows us to stay aligned in the now. This is the secret of the trees. The secret of the trees. Why do why are trees able to remain standing, most of them at least, even in the midst of storms and even hurricanes and all manner of weather, drought and um, scorching heat and blizzards and all of it? Why are they able to remain standing? Because they are so grounded, centered, and anchored in the soil. meaning their roots run so deep into the ground that nothing can uproot them. We want to be so rooted in the nowness of this moment that if we fall asleep, we wake up sooner and sooner and sooner. That we continuously, repeatedly checking in with ourselves. In this now moment, where am I now? Am I being hijacked by a story or belief? Am I being hijacked by a judgment? Am I being hijacked by what someone else believes? Or am I standing in my own authority? Am I claiming my own power over myself, over my own mind? Right? Yes. How is this resonating with you? How is this resonating with us? Because it is about us as individuals, but it is also about us as a collective. Because if enough of us move through life as expressions of unconditional love, if enough of us begin to release and let go of the judgments that we are holding on to, a sense of being superior or inferior, as we begin to love others as God loves all, as the sun loves all, as the rain loves all, as the ocean loves all and everything, as enough of us stay in these higher vibrations, it will begin to midwife itself. It will begin to spill over on the collective human consciousness. Like that, I don't know the numbers, but that story about the 100th monkey that speaks to how when there's a critical point, when enough monkeys, and this is how the story goes, I believe, when enough monkeys hang out, an actual story. This is an actual story. So scientists were conducting research and they were observing this monkey community on an isolated island somewhere. And at one point, they became aware that one particular monkey in this community began to wash her potatoes. This was a particular female, and she began to wash her potatoes. And this was unprecedented. The scientists hadn't observed this behavior before. So as time went on, other individuals in this community began to wash their potatoes before they ate them, right? So this behavior spread in this community. And this was maybe to be expected. I don't know. I don't remember. But what was not to be expected was that at a certain point, when enough individuals in this monkey community were washing their potatoes, at a certain point, at the critical point, this behavior of washing the potatoes before they ate them, it spilled over on another community that had no contact. They were in no way, shape, or form in communication with the first community. So this was a community on a completely different island. But at a certain point, they began, and not just one, but the community on this other island, they began to wash their potatoes. Maybe this is where the expression the 100 monkey comes from. I don't know. But what it speaks to is that when enough of us hang out in the higher vibration, it will infuse the collective human consciousness. So we are doing this for ourselves. Absolutely, we are. And the work that we do, it absolutely, we benefit from it. When we move through life less and less touched and moved by becoming more and more mindful in our own lives, becoming more and more conscious participants, active participants in our own lives, we absolutely benefit from it. The freedom that emerges is, it's beautiful, it's magnificent, it's powerful, right? But we are doing it from for the collective human consciousness. We're doing it for all of humanity. I was participating in a class the other day, and someone asked about just this, and we got to talk about it. We can be sitting in our closets. We can be sitting by ourselves doing this work, raising our vibration, expanding our consciousness, more and more living in the vibration of joy and harmony and wholeness and love and peace, right? And it will infuse all of the human collective consciousness, and obviously beyond, because there is only one consciousness. But kind of like a tea bag that is put in a cup of hot water. That tea bag doesn't just infuse the corner where it's being put, right? But the tea infuses the whole cup of water. So the flavor infuses all of the water. This is exactly the same. So we're doing it for ourselves, but we're absolutely doing it for all of humanity, all of creation, because there is only one. Cool. Any last comments or questions before we pray out? I want to take the opportunity, as always, to thank those of you who have financially contributed. I appreciate it so much. Every contribution, every donation goes obviously to allowing for this space to expand so that we can hang out more in this space. And so if being in this space resonated with you, there's a donation button somewhere, whether you are on the Our Health app or the Path to Freedom app or the Insight Timer app or on YouTube or the Faith app. Somewhere there is a donation button. If feel free to make a donation. Any amount is there's no, there's no difference between amounts. But I want to thank those of you who have donated. Let me just read briefly. So there's Dolores, and there's Marsha, and Cindy, and Ben, and John, and Queen Evie. Thank you so much. All right, so let us bless out. Let us pray out. And so I invite us to, as always, close our eyes, to bring that smile back onto our face. Once again, coming back to gratitude, and I'm so grateful for this beautiful space, for this beautiful community. These are multiple communities coming together as one, multiple platforms coming together as one. And how beautiful it is that they were able to come back to join as one. And so I'm grateful for the technology that allows us to tune into the same space. Being from different planets, we're all from the same planet, or maybe not, who knows, but we're from different parts of this planet. There's Europe, there's Africa, there's the US, there's the Caribbean, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the high vibration that we get to sustain, that we get to put forth into the world. I'm grateful for every single one of us tuning in, for our contribution, for our participation, for being willing to do this work. for courage to do this work, for saying yes to being servants and instruments of this benevolent, loving presence, showing up as beneficial presences with our unique qualities and talents and abilities, serving unconditional love and boundless peace in our unique way. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of us, regardless of whether we're tuning in live or watching or listening to the recordings. And it is from this space of gratitude that I recognize the one mind, God, the universe, higher power, benevolent, loving presence, energy. There's some scientific terms that I don't remember right now. Unified field, divine matrix, whatever we call it, it's the one and only mind, the one and only power, the one and only life, the one and only source, the one and only intelligence. And this, the one, it is benevolent, it is always for itself, it is always seeking to reveal more of itself, to express more of itself. And it is always doing so with perfection. God is love, God is law, God is order. So divine perfection is happening always, divine perfect timing, divine perfect activity and action. These are all happening always, now and forever. And I feel into, and we are invited to feel into our oneness with it. That we are what God is. And it is what we are. That we, in this and every single moment, are unique, perfect, whole, complete expressions of the one. So we're standing, moving, living, having our beingness in absolute oneness with the one. Absolute unity with it. And thus we are blessed. Blessed beyond imagination, blessed with everything that we need to keep moving forward, to keep growing, to keep expanding, to keep allowing for the next and the next and the next, eternally, the next iteration of who and what we are to emerge. To keep allowing for God to reveal itself in us and through us in ever expanding ways. To keep allowing for us to soar, to shine, to glow beyond anything we've ever experienced, imagined, over and over and over again. Everything is here. Everything is now. We're lacking nothing. We're missing nothing. And so I know that all is well. I know that something wonderful is happening. I know that everything is working for our highest good, individually and collectively. I know that perfect preparation and unfolding is always happening. And I let it be. I let it be. Giving thanks for that which already is. Giving thanks for the full knowing that the highest possibility, the highest potential for each and every single one of us already exists in this infinite mind. And that we, in this now moment, in every single moment, are being moved toward that highest possibility. So healing is happening now. Expansion is happening now. Releasing and letting go is happening now. Unconditional love is happening now. Boundless peace is happening now. Harmony is happening now. Abundance is happening now. Simply because the only thing that is happening is God. And God is all of this. So I let it be. I surrender to that which is. I allow that which is to be. Bowing my head, saying, "Thy will be done." So it is, so be it, so shall it be. So we are. So this benevolent, loving presence is. As we are one, as there is only one. Amen. Amen. Ashe, Ahu, Hotep, Shalom, Salam, and Hallelujah. Thank you so much. Until we meet again next week, as always, I bless our days, and I bless our ways. And feel free to say it out loud with me, in saying that all is well, that something wonderful is happening, that everything is working for her highest good, and that perfect preparation and unfolding is always happening. With much love and many blessings. Namaste. Bye bye.